If you've ever tried the Eisenhower grid to manage your mental load and everything feels urgent and important, this episode is for you. Welcome to In Real Life Wellbeing for Women, science-based wellbeing support for real women doing real life. In this episode, I want to explain why this popular prioritisation tool often fails in real life, particularly for women balancing competing responsibilities. So the reason why we might use a prioritisation grid is because we have a really long to-do list. We might write down all of our responsibilities, our tasks, our commitments, the things that are happening at home, the things that are happening at work, in our own business maybe. We may even have the opportunity to put on there things that are really important to us, like activities that support our health or contentedness or happiness. And when you look at that to-do list, you find the things that are required for all the people around you, all those responsibilities, it's just endless. And when you use a prioritisation grid like the Eisenhower grid, it's asking you to place things in urgent and not so urgent, and important and not important. But these things are on our minds because they feel urgent. They feel like get it done and it can get off of our to-do list. And they feel important because if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? And it's on our list because it already is important. So taking a look at the Eisenhower grid, we can see that actually everything lands in that to-do list, that the urgent and important aspect. I just want to take a moment to consider why it is that all these things are on your to-do list. Sometimes these tasks come to us because we are more capable. Maybe at some time we had more capacity for it. I know for myself, for example, there are certain things that happen within my household that I had the capacity to do because I was on maternity leave and I had the time to do those things. But over the years, those tasks have stuck as mine, not because I'm more capable, not because it's all my responsibility, but just out of habit, because at one point I had the capacity to do it. I found out through coaching women that this happens a lot. There are a lot of tasks that happen in the workplace or at home that have just evolved to become theirs. It could be that there's an expectation because of gender biases, or it could just be that they've taken it on themselves that if I don't do this, who else is going to do it? Which is common and a really obvious question and a real life question. Often, if we don't do it, it just doesn't get done. And sometimes it's a case of, other people have the capability and even the capacity to do these tasks, but I know that if I just do it, it'll just get done properly. And so we've taken on those tasks thinking it's best to just do it myself, then it'll just save time for everyone all round. And this has resulted in this to-do list, building and building. Now, the Eisenhower grid asks you to identify what's urgent and important, which is great. Those are the things that you can then do. And then it suggests that if it's important but not urgent, maybe we'll leave it for another day, which is a great idea. We can now know that these things don't need to happen immediately. We can put them off another time. But when we defer it, it just means that tomorrow's to-do list is equally as long. Now, for the things that we find that are urgent but not important, now not necessarily important to us, but everything has a place and needs to be done, the Eisenhower grid suggests you delegate it. And that's really great if you are a senior leader and you have a team that you can simply say, this is now your task. For many of us, we don't necessarily have a team. And even if we do, we might want to have a conversation before we delegate. And if we have that conversation, maybe next time this task won't even be on our to-do list. And then the last one, it says it's not urgent, it's not important, so we're going to delete it. Now that sounds great. We can delete it off our to-do list and maybe it will come back in the future. But actually, for women, we carry a lot mentally. In the back of our mind, it will still be there. Oh yeah, don't forget this thing that we didn't want to do today. It's not that important, but it still needs to be done. those tasks stick with us and they increase our mental load. So just saying today, oh, let's just forget about it, isn't as easily said than done. So this Eisenhower grid will work for someone who can easily say, I can just get rid of it, I don't want it anymore, who can easily just say, this is for you, not for me, and who can say, I can defer it for tomorrow, with the assumption that tomorrow's to-do list isn't going to build like it did today. And it's for people who don't find, when they do the Eisenhower grid, the do section, important and urgent, gets filled up. So let's take a new perspective on this. Instead of saying what's important and urgent, let's take a step back and say what's important to me as an individual. And I'll explain in a moment why that's really important to establish. Okay, so introducing the prioritisation grid that I've designed, and this was designed through coaching sessions and conversations with other women, but also I do lots of research using all the books in my library, and the activities in there tend to be kind of corporate focused, and they assume a really kind of rigid work templates, that you have your work description and you do the things within that, the tasks within that job. And I was finding, well, that doesn't apply to me, and it doesn't apply to the women I work with. So that's why I came up with this. So within this pack, you'll find this first grid. On this grid, you identify what's important to you, so low to high importance, and then capability. So this isn't at the minute about capacity, but how capable are you of doing this, as in on your own? So only I can do this, and then all the way down here is others can also do this or have a joint interest in doing this or having this done. Now the reason why I did that, as I said to you, is about having a look at what has just become yours, not through conversations, not through delegation, not through mutual understanding, but just out of habit. So on this grid, we'd identify what's really important and what is yours alone. And you'd identify right at the top here all the things that just belong to you. Now this becomes important because no one else knows that that's really important to you. So for example, for me, from my business perspective, it might be producing this video is really important to me. I know it's going to get to other women, and I know that other women are going to benefit from it. So it's important for my business to do this. Now, people I work with, or colleagues or clients, or even my family, none of them really know how important it is for me to do that. And no one's going to say, oh, we'll just leave Elizabeth to it because she's got this really important thing she's doing. That just doesn't happen. So what we end up finding is up here are the things that are important to you and only you can do, and they are yours to protect. Then we move on to things that are really important, and actually there's a shared responsibility. So for example, my children have parents' evening this week. It's really important. There are conversations to be had there. Now, both my husband and I could do this. So I could put this all the way down the bottom here, that others are capable of doing this. But actually, my husband's in the military. He is not here this week. So this will fall on me. So I will put it in the mid-range here, that it's not really mine to hold for myself, and it's really important for me to ring fence, but it's important for our family ecosystem, and only I can do it. But I'll have discussions about what's going on with that. So I'm going to place it roughly midway for that one. And there are things that are really not important, but only I do. And again, for my example, if my husband's away, then yeah, they're not very interesting, like doing the shopping, for example. So they go all the way up here. Only I can do that, unless I ask my children to go up to the shops to do it. They're not very important to me, but it has to be done by me. And so that's on my things I need to do kind of thing. Now, all the way down the bottom here, you will find things that are important, and then there are shared responsibility. So if my husband was around, for example, that parents' evening is important, and it's a shared responsibility. So it would have been down here lower, because actually either we both go together, or we each go to one of the children's parents' evenings. And that kind of requires a conversation. I can't just turn around to him and just say, I'm not doing it, I'm going to delegate you, I've got too much going on. So instead of saying delegate that, it's a conversation. I mean, we're sensible grown-up people, and so conversations seem more apt than just telling somebody what to do. Then we can come all the way down here. These are low important things. They are joint responsibilities. Now I'm thinking in the context of my family again, that this is hoovering, for example. It's not important to me that the hoovering gets done. It just needs to get done. I am not the only person that benefits from having the hoovering done, and I am not the only person that lives in this house. Therefore, there is a joint responsibility in that. So those kind of tasks will fall all the way to the bottom here. And again, if this whole grid is filled up, there's a conversation to be had. But if it's completely filled up, I might just say, do you know what, household? I have this to do. So these things down here, I need other people to deal with that. It's not just for me to do. So as you can see, there's a picture building here. Our first job is to identify how important things are and how much is this on my own and how much is this actually shared, and then to plot that. And then from there, inside the pack, you'll find a second grid, and it will do that second thing. Where the Eisenhower grid suggests that you either do, you defer, you delete, or you delegate. Here I've identified 7 different groupings. So I've already said to you the top right was do immediately. This is just for you. If you don't do this, no one else is going to say, this is so important to you, go and do that thing. These are the things that you ring fence and you say to others, this is going on for me, so I'm doing that now. And then the things that you would like to get done because they're really important but actually not yours, I suggest that's your next thing to do, is to delegate it. Say to someone else who's got that responsibility, I've got other things to do right now. If you've got the capacity, could you get on with that? So not really a discussion, but just this is happening for me, what's happening for you, could you do that thing? And then the midsections you'll find here, most of that has conversations linked to it. So if it's got a joint responsibility to it, have that conversation as to who, when, how is that going to happen. And kind of, that defer section, not just to say, and the delete section, not to say, we'll do it another day, but pin down when that's going to happen, because it's still going to be in the back of your mind, this is something that's really important, it's on my to-do list, I haven't got around to doing it yet. If you've had a discussion with those involved, and even if it's just for you, just to be able to say, this is just for me, it's not urgent, it's kind of important, but I'm going to do it then. And maybe even, as I suggest in the pack here, how to get those embedded into those into more immediate actions as well. And then from there, the pack then guides you on to further steps. So the actions to take, and then your additional actions that you can take as well to improve your well-being, alongside all these important things that you need to do, and all the habits that need to be, and all the responsibilities and the almost mundane tasks of real life, how they happen, but then how to then embed in next what's really important to you. And it might not be to do with productivity, and it might not be to do with your family, it's just for you. So inside the pack, it gives you some tips there to move forward. This is part of the Women's Wellbeing Lab, which is an integrative digital system that brings coaching activities that you can do on your own, or with me, a wellness and resilience coach, or just digital activities where you can go in by yourself and take action. For example, have interactive tools that support you in reflecting on how you feel and areas of your life that you might want to work on to improve your health and happiness. So don't use an Eisenhower grid if you always find that your to-do list just ends up in the to-do section. Have a look at where you're taking on things that you have chosen to or have just landed in your lap, and how you might be able to move forward with that. The next step is probably an assertive conversation about how you like to handle those tasks. Again, there are tips and tools inside the Women's Wellbeing Lab to support you with that. If the prioritisation grid has been useful in this video, please do grab it. It is free. Use it and then come and join the lab as well to identify other ways to improve your well-being and reduce mental load. Save this and share it with another woman who also has a busy to-do list and could do with reducing the overwhelm that comes with the competing roles and responsibilities that many of us women experience.